This is it has a different feel to it than the old October 15th date. That was a date that we always had circled on our calendar, and you were able to do, some conditioning and some things like that. And you got to that date, and you were having double sessions, and you had 2 weeks to get ready before your first exhibition game, and it was pretty jam-packed. And years ago, the NCAA made a rule change. It was a really good rule change, and that was to let us work with the kids in the summertime, but then also to give us a chance to work with them in the fall. And so what we have is we're just coming off of an 8-hour-a-week situation where for 6 hours they can condition, weight train, and things like that, and then 2 hours with the basketball. So we've been going at it for 2 or 3 weeks, and learning more about ourselves. I think the what's new as far as this fall than maybe last summer is that Matt Attaway is back. He's not 100%, and but we hope to get him there. But he's in practice now. And he's probably had 3 or 4 practices. When we get to the point where we are now, where we'll practice 4 or 5 days a week, now leading up to our exhibition game on the 7th of November, Matt will probably take a day off a week at least in that 4 or 5 day period, just to bring him back and let him get his conditioning and get feeling better. So the guys have worked pretty hard. There's a lot of, when you're new, you have to almost teach them how to practice again. It's new drills and new ways to warm up, and a new pace and a new tempo. And so getting them to go faster, getting them to play a little bit more recklessly, getting them to scramble, getting them to communicate, are things that are going to take time, and sometimes more time than just teaching an offensive set. Questions?
Bruce, before this, how was the expanded recruiting time that you took? I know you were out in California quite a bit. Just how productive were you able to be in that time period?
Everybody, when they get a new job, should actually have a show cause and have to not be able to go on the road, because it just allowed me to spend time with my team and develop our program. And this fall, starting I believe it was September 9th, we were able to go out. So we're talking about 3 or 4 weeks, and I've been out a lot, making up for lost time. This isn't evaluation time as much as it is a contact period, and that's reaching back out to a lot of prospects and school visits and home visits and things like that. And I think we've been very, very productive with where we've been and what we've been doing. And again, combine that with a couple of practices a week, I've been able to get out there and recruit, then get back for practice, and get out there and recruit, get back for practice. So it's been a really productive fall.
What's the reception been like?
The kids don't know any difference. They don't know where I was last year. They don't know. The coaches do. And so sometimes for the coaches, there's a welcome back. Certainly for people that I haven't seen in a few years and I've known for a long time. And one of the things about being old is I can go out to the West Coast and I talk about 1982 Stanford University stuff, and players back in those days, and how old are those kids now in '82 when I was coaching '82. And so it's kind of neat to. I like being old school, and the reception was good.
People talk about this summer and how important it is for players kind of learning you guys. How much did you learn about your team heading into this practice, being able to work with them some? I
learned a lot more than I would have come October 15th, without knowing them. But we're going to really get to know them now this month. It doesn't no matter. I'd be curious what Gus would think about this, but in spite of everything he knew about his team, he learned a lot more of them after the Arkansas game. You just have to have a game under your belt to see what you think you're going to see. And so it's going to take until we start playing before I really know. But I have a lot more figured out. What the guys' strengths and weaknesses are, what they can and can't do, where I can feature them, where I need to hide them. A little bit idea of combinations and rotations and things like that. We're not going to be very big or very tall or very long, but we are going to be physical. And so the interesting challenge is going to be, our guards are big, strong, physical guards, not all the tallest guys. Are they quick enough to press? Are we quick enough to make people go faster? And is that going to make us better? Is that going to make them better? We're going to have to figure that out. I do think in order to protect our rim, we're going to have to extend this year because we don't have enough depth and quality depth on the inside to withstand foul trouble or things like that. So those will be the kind of things that I'll be watching and learning.
First, when you look at the league and 3 years away from it, are you going to have to be different in any way in this league now than you were in this league 3 years ago?
I was talking to Kevin Stallings yesterday we had an SEC coaches meeting, and I asked him how the game's changed, and he talked a lot about what I saw when I was at ESPN, and that is there's just a ton of continuity ball screen stuff. It's a lot of NBA stuff, and that's really good stuff, and it's really hard to guard, but a lot of people run it, and I use bits and pieces of it, but I don't run it. It's not the foundation of our system. And so, Kevin was talking about getting back to doing some of the things that he used to do, which are a lot of things that I do. So there's not that much screening going on. There's not that many continuity offenses that don't involve continuity ball screen. I like to play call ball screen. I like to put guys in ball screens and make plays, but I don't have a. It's not a free for all when it comes to being in a ball screen. In other words, the analogy to that is, I want my quarterback in a ball screen. I want the guy that can score in a ball screen. I don't want everybody in a ball screen because not all guys can handle it, make plays, and now everybody's running it. So I think I can defend it. I think I know how to defend it. But we're going to be different. So I don't think we're going to go back to doing what everybody else is doing. I think I got to do what I do first, and let's see if it still works.
You brought up the lack of size. How do you look to approach the center position in the short term?
Because of the depth, right now, Simeon Bowers and Matt Adaway are going to play the same position. That you'd like to think that you could play them together some, and you might against some opponents, but we can't play them together for long because of foul trouble and depth. But that's okay. Those guys would probably like to play together a lot. They'll play together some, but that would be, for example, one of the adjustments that I would have to make, which then therefore would put Jack Purchase or Jordan Granger or even a guy like Malcolm Canada at the 4, and we go 4 guards. We'll see some 4 guard stuff, just based on playing the best players that are on our roster.
In that light, how do you feel about the roster makeup now compared to when you got here? I think there's just 5 returning scholarship players.
There are 5 returning scholarship players, and 3 seniors, again, that played a lot of basketball for them last year, including Chris Denson, who was one of the best guards in the league. The roster's in better shape now than it was in the spring because of our additions, and I think because of the progress that the returning players have made. Matt was out all year, and so it's hard for him to have made progress. But KT is stronger, faster, quicker, lighter. Malcolm is also the same and much more confident and has got a stronger personality on this team. Jordan has been a good leader and is just going to be a more confident player this year. Taj is very, very competitive. Taj has been very well coached. He's got really good fundamentals defensively. He makes us better with his presence on the floor. I guess the other thing I would say that you may not be aware of is I'm going to try to play Taj off the ball most of the year this year. I think that it's going to, again, will be undersized when he's playing the 2, but he's better on the wing right now. And Malcolm and Casey are better with the ball in their hands. I'll put the ball in Taj's hands to score, but he's not going to bring the ball up the floor a lot this year. Now, that doesn't mean that he doesn't have a future in our program as a point guard, but I want him as a scorer, and I want him as a defender, because he can really, really guard you.
So do you look at KC as the